Hello and welcome to Monday Mornings with Michael. Today is February the 21st. Also, it's President's Day, so if you have the day off, if you're celebrating, happy President's Day. How cool is that? Well, we did not announce this because, no, it wasn't because we did not have this planned, but rather we wanted to use it as like a surprise to be like, hey, good morning, happy Monday, how are you doing? We really wanted to use this as a show where it'll be pretty short, so anywhere from 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30, because if you've listened to any of the podcasts that I host or really know me, once I start talking, I can keep going. Just keep going and going and going. But we wanted to check in and use this as a way because a lot of people, when you start out your Mondays, you just come from a weekend and you're like, oh my goodness, we have to start a new week. We just came from the weekend. We don't want to go back to work. We don't want to start the week again. But we think we should really flip that around to be like, hey, it's Monday. It's a new day. It's a new week ahead of you. You have so many opportunities to get going in the day and with this new week. So we wanted to kick this off and have this as like a Monday morning show. Right now we're calling it Monday Mornings with Michael because I'm Michael. We'll see if we change that. I don't know. Lots of cool things to come. But we did want to use this as a way to welcome and really kick this off, especially as now that I am coming in as one of the new faces, and this is just saying like, hello, yet again, it's me. You'll be seeing me a lot. My looks do change a lot, so rest assured you will be kept entertained, is a nice way of saying it, with all the different looks I have going. But that being said, I did want to share kind of like two different stories with live videos because this is, I guess, my second ever live video, which is weird. So previously I was a community manager at a startup where we had lots of people and we had an internal Instagram. We did a lot of stuff on Instagram using it. And in all the years I was there, like 5 years, I never did an Instagram live. And you tell yourself like, why? Well, at the time I was like, I'll never need to know how to do this. Like, I'm not that comfortable doing it. It's just one of those features that I feel like Instagram is really trying to push in your face. And it's like, we want you to do this. We want you to go live. And I was like, I don't have to do it. There's someone else, there are other people who are willing to do it, willing to lead it. So that wasn't really an area that I had to do. So I didn't. Flash forward to now when I am hosting the live show, which we're still getting up and going. If you have a business, we would love to interview. But I interviewed myself in a live video, and I was like, oh my gosh, how do you practice a live video? And there are so many buttons, everywhere, that I'm like, okay, we'll try this out. I thought I was gonna have to create a whole, new fake account to do it with another fake account so I could see. But the good thing is that if you haven't done a live video, they actually have a practice round. So rest assured, if you wanna get in and start practicing, you actually can have that feature now. So maybe waiting was not such a bad idea because I was able to practice it. So you just set the audience to nobody, but you can also invite people to that like limited audience if you're wanting to. So you could invite your friends, or if you are interviewing someone, you can invite someone in, they hop in with you. So that was my first, like, when we were getting started with all of this of like, so I'm saying, I'm going to be hosting this and we're creating this whole show on interviewing people live. And I've watched a bunch of live videos, watched a lot of live interviews and shows similar to this, but I was like, but at the same time, I've never done that. So we'll see how that goes. And then that day when I was actually interviewing myself for the first one, because we wanted one where we could really kick things off, have people see like what is happening, what is this show that you guys are talking about, why should we even go on this? That's why we wanted to do it. And I do have a pretty interesting background, a lot of different creative stuff, and I think I talked about some of my work stuff too, not as in depth because I've worked at so many different places too, which maybe we'll hear about on this Monday Mornings with Michael. But the day of, there was a bunch of construction happening in the street, like not even like the street down the road, but like 2 houses down from where I'm at and where I needed to be recording. And I was like, great, it's been quiet for the last weeks and weeks and weeks and months. And the very first day where I need to jump on, it is going to be super loud with jackhammers and I was like, oh gosh, do I have to move the whole like studio setup? Do I need to go somewhere else? But it just happened that by the time I was actually getting to record that very first live video, they were on a lunch break. So I was like, sweet, they're on a lunch break. I'm able to jump on and do this live interview with myself to get going. But then the other thing that kind of added a twist was I had forgotten to shave my face right before jumping on the live video, and I wanted to be clean shaven for that. And if you've ever done anything with being in front of a camera or being in performance, you should not do that last minute, because I ended up cutting my face like right here and I was bleeding. And I know if you cut your face with shaving, you put like the little tissue and that would not stop. So I'm like bleeding down my face, knowing like, hey, I have to jump on a live video in like 10 minutes. And what am I gonna do? So I ended up having to put a little Band-Aid on my face. And previously to this, when I was introducing that, like, hey, we're gonna do live videos, I was like, I really like live videos because you never know what happens. The show must go on and you just take what comes at you. And in that very first video, we had construction going on and myself with a bleeding face. So we definitely had a lot to go with on that one, which also makes for a good story. And if you do go back to that first interview where I am introducing myself, and if I ever turn this way, you squint real close and you'd be like, hey, why is there a Band-Aid on your face? But from there, kind of what we wanted to do with this live show is that, yes, we want to greet you for your Monday mornings, get things kicked off positively, get you going in the day. We have it early on our time. I'm in California, so Pacific Standard Time, it's 7 a.m. If you are anywhere else, it'll be probably not morning for you, or even the East Coast, you're headed to your lunch in like 2 hours. So happy lunch to you. Hope the day's been going good. Kind of some exciting news that we did want to say from this past week was that we actually hit the 50 unique and different listeners to our podcast. So that was super exciting, a huge accomplishment and goal. And it is weird because when we're getting going in a lot of these things, you know, it is a very small goal and accomplishment. And you're like, we first need to get to this before we can do that. But to actually make money, we're going to need like thousands of listeners. And that is a little too daunting. So it gets in this weird mode where you're like, this is too much. It's not going fast enough. We're not going to make it. There's not enough time. But then at the same time, when little things come up like this, it was very like, whoa, this is actually cool. Like, people are actually listening. People are at least taking the first listen. It doesn't mean that we have 50 engaged listeners. So that's kind of like, take yourself down a little bit. But at the same time, it did unlock what we needed it to. We started setting up some of the monetization stuff over the weekend. Anchor is the platform we're using, and they said they're going to create an ad for us to read on the show. So that is to be determined of what the ad is going to be. It's going to be talking about their site though. So I don't know if they listen and like look through what our show is about to then fine tune it, being that it is more like entrepreneurial and focused towards business people and just living your life to the best that you can. Maybe it'll be about that and how you can create your own podcast using Anchor, just like this kid right over here. Maybe. We'll see. And then the other exciting thing was that I am now the face of the company. I already do a lot for the company, if you didn't know, but making that real good distinction of like, hey, up until now, we have only been posting like kind of like graphic design type posts and black and white photos. We just made the change 2 weeks ago to moving to color. This is Life in Color. I think that's a One Republic song. You should look it up. It's a really happy song. But so that was a very good like shift up to there. And then the next big one was like, we need someone's face. We need someone to interact and engage with people. If you've done any like research in like social media or looking into like how to get your accounts to grow, if you don't have your face and you're just showing products, you can already get a huge boost just by adding human elements. So if you are selling jewelry or cards or stationery or pins, like add a hand in it holding whatever you're doing. And automatically people are like, whoa, it's not just like a Photoshop something, even though it still can be if you are good at using your computer. But that will already get a lot more engagement. And then even more so is adding, a human behind it. I followed an account or accounts in the past where they have like their face of the company, and I really had no idea what they did other than like they were always like, I always saw their face. I interacted with them, even though they probably had different social media managers and people commenting back. They were all kind of pretending to be like this guy or this girl. And if you really like, definitely a good song. If you really like the person who is the face of the company, then you're more likely to dive into their content, take them for what they're saying. It adds credibility to the brand. And I think it just, adds some fun to the company that you wouldn't get if you're just hiding behind your screen and like, here's a post, here's a post, here's a post. And although I do find that fun, and it is fun overall and much easier, let's just say that, to create posts. You can schedule posts using, right now, Facebook owns everything. It seems like they're Meta now. And they also own, Meta is now Facebook and Instagram and a couple other apps. But they have a Meta business suite where you can actually schedule for free your Facebook and Instagram posts. So they already make that super easy. But jumping on and having someone to do, these interviews, these check-ins, these just like, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's some good stuff. Here's, what we've learned, is just a really good way to push us forward and get us going. So we're super excited about that. First, just having these Monday morning check-ins to get your week started off good. And then as we continue to grow, having other businesses interviewed on this show so that you can interact with them. We can learn more about them, hear their life story, how they got here, the ups, the downs, and what they can share with us of what you then could learn if you either have your own business or you're wanting to start your own business, or really just listening to real life conversation is actually super intriguing, because I've done that with other ones. I'm like, I don't really think I'm interested in this topic, or I don't really know who these people are, but let's listen. And if the host is doing a good job and they have good energy, and then they know how to talk well with the person they're interviewing, then it all comes together and you're just like, wow, I still don't really know what's going on, but I like this, or I like that person, or I like that business owner, or I like this host. Let's look up more on them. So that is kind of the goal behind that. And then I think going forward, so we are going to add some more stuff to the show. We do want it to be, as I was saying, like fairly short and sweet, so you can hop on. It's not like you're committing yourself to a whole hour-long live video, but enough of a way where you can jump on. It's like, hey, this was kind of fun, ready to go for the week, let's go. But I think it would be fun eventually, whether it's like reading and choosing like a businessy or like self-help type book, and doing like a chapter a week and then checking in. So if you wanted to read along and follow along, it'd be very easy to be like, hey, here's what we're learning this week from this book type of thing. Almost like a book club, but not really a book club, because if you didn't want to read it, it's definitely fine. But I think that sounds like fun. And then just kind of sharing the successes or the failures. And failures, I think, is a very like harsh way to say just things you're learning as you're going, because I would rather say that I learned from this past week's podcasting episode was that I used the word decision a lot and success. And I just said that clearly right now. But when you are behind a microphone and talking like that, you should never use the word decision, because I had to cut out and re-record so many, not even like chunks, just the word decision. Because when I was talking fast, I'm like, decision, and I kept saying it again and again. And then I would like, pause the recording and I would say, decision, like whatever you would do in those like weird theater vocal warm-ups, of like red leather, yellow leather, the big black bear bit the blue bug. See, I'm rusty. But even practicing that, I still like throughout the thing, and I was like, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to choose a different word. I'm like, it has to be decision. And like that's all going in my mind as I'm like following my outline. I'm like, and then success just comes out like success. And I'm just like, I don't have a stuttering problem, right? You know that, I hope. But if you were listening, you'd be like, you've got some problems, dude. So that's what I learned. More of on the podcasting hosting side of choose your words carefully or really practice them. And of course, being that it wasn't live, it's really not a big deal because I was able to go back and fix those things up. But at the same time, I mean, we should be working on speaking and diction so that we can get through it the first time and have it be good without having to go back and edit. That's one of the things that when working on podcasts and when I would listen to other podcasts, I really did not like when I would hear them say like, yeah, we recorded like 2 to 3 hours of content and then someone has to go through and edit that down to 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm like, gross. Who's going to do that? And I mean, eventually the fancy people who make thousands of dollars per podcast episode based on their ads and monetization, they can hire an editor who goes through everything. With our company this small as it is and just getting started, we're like, No, we're not going to be able to hire that out. We're going to have to do that all in-house. Do we really want to do that? Not really. So let's try to get it good the first time, second time, third time, if possible, and not just ramble on. But I think we are going to close this up right now. And coming up, kind of went over everything, but I think basically what we learned from this past week and what we would leave you with is like, figure out those small accomplishments that you're doing, which are, introducing my face and hitting the podcast one was a really big one. It's big even though it's small. So like in the big timeline of things, it's a very small one because, as we said, the monetization is based on per thousands of listens. And you're like, oh, so 1,000 minus 50 is, and you're like, let's not think of that. But focusing on the small ones and actually like take the moment to be excited for yourself and be pumped up, because this is like the first stepping stone that you need to get to where you want to be. So that's a big one. And I think it really helps like refuel the excitement that you would have in whatever your endeavor is, even if it feels like, oh, that's still months away, or it's a year away, or I'm not happy where I am right now, or I don't want to go to work on this Monday morning. Just being like, what can I celebrate from the past few days, and what can I look forward to? What can I get excited about? I think even if you need it, go to a local coffee shop and get your favorite drink. This is actually hot water. I'll leave that maybe for next week. But I moved to a lot of drinking hot water, mostly to keep my hands and fingers warm. But, treat yourself to going out and getting a drink, even if it's the cheapest coffee you can find. Just find little ways to make the day a little more exciting to help you get through it. And just realize like today is, yes, it's Monday, but it's also the start of a new day, which is the start of a new week, which is full of new opportunities for yourself to grab and take a hold of. You have the potential. Oh, there we go. You have the potential in you. Talking too fast. So go ahead and grab that and take that. And thanks for joining us for this Monday Mornings with Michael. If you have any content or information you think would be interesting to see in these like short greetings on your Monday mornings, go ahead and add a comment once we post this on our wall. We'll have this posted. Let us know what you'd like to hear, and we will continue to expand and grow and add more content to the show. But for here, we are signing off, wishing you the very best Monday you could have from Philbrick. We'll see you soon.